I'm here today to announce the appointment of a special counsel in connection with two ongoing criminal investigations that have received significant public attention.
And that was a bit of a surprise this morning. Merrick Garland announcing that he's not going to be pushing at this point for criminal charges in any of a number of different investigations going on involving Donald Trump, but he is going to be putting forward a special counsel who's going to be looking into this. And here is what that special counsel is going to be tasked with.
The first, as described in court filings in the District of Columbia, is the investigation into whether any person or entity unlawfully interfered with the transfer of power following the 2020 presidential election or the certification of the Electoral College vote held on or about January 6, 2021. The second is the ongoing investigation involving classified documents and other presidential records, as well as the possible obstruction of that investigation, referenced and described in court filings in a pending matter in the Southern District of Florida.
So the special counsel will be looking into both of those. Now, there are other investigations ongoing concerning Donald Trump having to do with his taxes and manipulating or trying to manipulate the results of the election in Georgia. But this is specific to the documents and to the insurrection. And we'll be getting into more about what we know about the actual special counsel, Jack Smith, in just a moment. But first, this was something that a few people had predicted, that Merrick Garland would punt the entire thing to a special counsel. And for much the same reason some people predicted he might. The DOJ said that they've long recognized that in certain extraordinary cases, it's in the public interest to appoint a special prosecutor to independently manage investigation and prosecution. And they say that recent developments, including Trump's recent announcement that he's running again for president, led him to conclude that it was appropriate to do so, that it wouldn't be right for them to get involved. They had to do this through a special counsel because of these recent developments that everyone in the country has known was coming for literally months. And they could well have put the charges forward before he announced. They allowed Donald Trump to announce, and now anything that happens, if anything happens, will come after that. They say such an appointment underscores the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters. It also allows prosecutors and agents to continue their work expeditiously and to make decisions indisputably guided only by the facts and the law. Many people worried that this is going to massively delay this entire thing. He is trying to reassure us that it's still gonna move along at an expeditious rate. What do you think?
Yeah, so there's two different issues here. One is, was it right to hand it off to a special counsel? And two is, who is this guy and can we trust him to actually do his job? And I asked that second question because apparently Donald Trump is prosecutor kryptonite. The most obvious criminal cases in the world are handed to prosecutors, but it has the word Trump on it. And they go, they melt, and they never prosecute one of the biggest criminals in American history. So let me try to answer both those as best I can. So some people are worried that, oh my God, it's another layer that you have to go through to prosecute Trump. Everybody's bending over backwards for him 1,000 times over. Merrick Garland should have just prosecuted the son of a bitch and be done with it, right? And that this is gonna make things longer. I don't really agree, okay? So you might be surprised by that. Number one, these cases take forever, and every one of these prosecutors drives me crazy. And did you get a sense that Merrick Garland was moving quickly? So I think it could only help to get it out of Merrick Garland's hand, which then gets the second question: who's the prosecutor? Jack Smith, and he, having read a little bit into his history, he seems like a very serious prosecutor, and so a neutral, impartial, everybody attests to it for whatever it's worth, right? I'd rather have a serious federal prosecutor than Merrick Garland. So I'm overall happy that they moved it to a special prosecutor, mainly get it out of the incompetent, weak hands of Merrick Garland, the very, very soft hands of Merrick Garland. So I don't know, Jack Smith, but the saying, hey, devil you know is better than devil you don't know, is the most irrational statement of my lifetime, and I can never abide by it. No, the devil I know, I already know is a devil. Okay, the other one I don't know at all. I'll take my chances. Maybe he's a little bit better than devil. In this case, Merrick Garland's not a devil, he's just soft hands. And so I know his hands are soft. Let's see if Jack Smith can actually prosecute someone. And I don't think it could be worse than Merrick Garland. So I'm overall happy with it. What do you think, Mas?
Well, it's like a domino effect of announcements, right? Trump announces he's running for 2024. Merrick Garland announces the special counsel. And I think Trump's gonna have to come back and announce that he's moving to Russia. And then Putin will announce that he's adopting Trump. It's just announcement after announcement. But that said, it gets my hopes up a little bit. But at the same time, I'm a little wary given what a lot of people were feeling when under Mueller, where everyone thought, well, it's coming down. Mueller's a real deal. He's gonna, bring down the hammer. And clearly, as you just said, Teflon Don got away. Similarly, I don't want to get my hopes up too much. It almost feels like, if you remember, for the longest time, the Boston Red Sox kept letting down their fans, even all the way up until they lost to the Mets in the '86 World Series with the Bill Buckner ball going under his legs. I feel like I don't want to get my hopes up too high, even though you're right. This new special counsel seems like the real deal. It feels to me it's such a in plain sight what this guy gets away with, what Trump gets away with, and we all know it. But when I listen to prosecutors talk, they say they really have to have their T's crossed, their I's dotted. No. And I don't know. I'm optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I get that people will say that the insurrection stuff is difficult, but the documents, I mean, he's got them. He took them. He tried to hide it. Every bit of this is out in the open. It's like, if the guy is standing there and he's got the black mask over his eyes and he's got a sack over his shoulder and it's got a dollar sign on it, this shouldn't take 6 months of investigation. I think he took the money, but for some reason with Trump, it is more difficult. That said, let's dive a bit more into Jack Smith and what we know of his past. Let's start off with this video.
Today, I signed an order appointing Jack Smith to serve as special counsel. The order authorizes him to continue the ongoing investigation into both of the matters that I have just described and to prosecute any federal crimes that may arise from those investigations. Mr. Smith is a veteran career prosecutor. He began his prosecutorial career in 1994 as an assistant district attorney with the New York County DA's office. In 1999, he became an assistant U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York, where over the course of 9 years, he prosecuted matters ranging from gang murders of police officers to civil rights violations.
So that's a bit of the history of Jack Smith, the new special counsel. We also know that he was a chief prosecutor for the special court in The Hague, where he investigated war crimes in Kosovo. So everyone pause for a second. This might be as close as we ever get in America to someone investigating the war crimes of past presidents. He's not actually gonna be looking into that, but he does have some experience. Back in 2010 to 2015, he worked with the Justice Department as chief of the Public Integrity Section, where he managed a team of more than 30 prosecutors who handled public corruption and election crimes cases. In that position, he oversaw the case of former CIA officer Jeffrey Sterling, who was convicted in 2015 of disclosing national defense information and obstructing justice. So, every bit of the things he's gonna be investigating here. And so it seems clear that he's got the experience in these areas, experience going back many years. Some of the rest of people's concerns, I think, are a little bit more open to interpretation. So you had said you don't think it's gonna slow things down. I don't know about his working speed in comparison to someone like Merrick Garland, but while he is saying in interviews today, it won't take him much time to stand up a legal team and go over everything that's been investigated. I don't think that happens in like a day. If the DOJ has been looking into this stuff for 6 months and let alone the documents case, that's gonna take some time. But my bigger concern is that the pretext for this is that they need to appear to be independent, that they don't want, like the stink of the Biden administration on this. And the White House, by the way, says they had nothing to do with the appointment of the special counsel. They said nothing to do with them, which I largely buy. This is an extra layer removed from the Biden administration. It's a layer removed from the DOJ, but is that going to matter to literally a single person wearing a red cap? Is anyone gonna be like, well, I would have had a problem with them investigating Trump, but this guy technically doesn't work for the DOJ. I don't know how much that's actually gonna buy them.
So look, you just heard Garland. he even sounds scared. He's like, I want to tell you. Do we have appointed a special counsel? You're like, Jesus, just get it to the special counsel already. There's no way that guy's gonna be slower. There's just no way. Now look, January 6th is hard because you have to prove that the guy tried an actual coup. And what he's charged with looking into is anyone who was not on the ground. It doesn't disqualify Donald Trump because he gave the speech. The point is he's not looking into rioters. He's looking into the fake electors plot, etc. Great, that's great. That makes sense. That was a real coup attempt, right? But still, that's a very hard thing to prove just as a matter of like, Trump says, well, go down to the Capitol, get me some electors, let's find some votes, right? And then he kind of says it vague enough where he's got some plausible deniability, and oftentimes he doesn't, right? So I get it that one's a little hard, okay? But it's very important, it's actually more important than the document case. And so if they did try to do a coup here, Bannon and Navarro have bragged about it. Navarro wrote a whole book about it. He doesn't call it a coup, but they talk about, and there's emails that say fake electors, right? So they should get them, and it's important to the rule of law and preserving democracy to get them. But that's still going to be a challenge no matter what. The documents case is the easiest case in the whole wide world. No one is allowed to take some of those documents even outside of a secure room. He took them outside of a secure room and took them home to a place that was completely unsecure, that people were going in and out of, and he had no reason to take them. I mean, it's a slam dunk, not even close. If it was anyone but Trump, they'd already be in prison and facing perhaps decades, right? So if Jack Smith can't get that done, that means that's it. There's no prosecutor in America that has any kind of testicular fortitude. None, zero. They're never gonna do their jobs. And if you're wondering why are they so goddamn cautious? Like they don't seem that cautious when they're going after the average guy. Yes, but you're right. Your instinct is right. Why? Because when you're going after little guys, it's easy. You do plea deals, you do this, it's the machine that hums along. And it doesn't affect your career very much. When you're going after big dogs, those are big prominent cases, and your career will be judged by that. And so if you lose, they don't see it as like, hey man, I tried to get justice and it didn't turn out that way, but at least I tried to get justice. No, they view it as like, if I lose, it'll ruin my career. It'll ruin it, I'm so scared. And then there's the extra element with Trump where he's always whining like a little baby. So he's like, oh, it's unfair. Like when it was at Merrick Garland, it was unfair. Now it's a special counsel, that's also unfair. It doesn't matter, you could give it to his mom and he'll still call it unfair. I mean, she's probably buried in a golf course somewhere, but okay, it doesn't matter. To John's point, MAGA and Trump guys are always gonna cry. They cry by nature. If you say hi to them, like, you didn't say Merry Christmas, right? So just ignore them, just do your goddamn job. And the reason why, overall, again, I'm happy that it went to this guy, is because this guy's a super serious prosecutor. I now feel like some comfort in that if he can't get it done, apparently there isn't a single goddamn prosecutor in the country that can prosecute a rich, elite, powerful person, even in a slam dunk case. And I go, okay, I get it. We live in an oligarchy and the plutocrats and the elites are never ever going to be prosecuted no matter what. And I'm done with it and I'll move on. Because if you can't prosecute Trump, you ain't a prosecutor. So we're gonna find out, but it's I can't emphasize enough, that's why I've said it 3 times, definitely better than if it's in Merrick Garland's hands, because he's he's the guy who's most scared on planet Earth. He's scared of his own shadow. I think during the press conference, he was like, oh, what was that? Oh, this is your shadow, Merrick, it's okay. So let's see what Jack Smith's got. Maz, last thoughts.
First of all, Jack Smith sounds like a made up name. It sounds like the whitest name they could come up with. To John's point, I think they're trying to get some MAGA people to go, well, maybe this guy's, he's a white guy, okay, he's not. Because let's face it, if the prosecutor were Mohammed Abdul, they'd be like, the fix is in. The MAGA folks, or if it were like Juan Gomez, they'd be like, yeah, look at that, the immigrants. But Jack Smith, maybe some MAGA folks go, okay, I'll give this guy a chance. That said, again, to John's point and also your point, Cenk, about how it can't get any slower than it's been. How funny would it be if he got if he got assigned the job this morning and by the end of the day today he did a press conference, he goes, guys, I looked at it and he's guilty. That was it. Just 8 hours, 8 hours, he's done. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
But I think a couple other things are in play here. One is that Trump, in his speech, in his announcement speech, again, made himself the victim. I'm the victim of this deep state, DOJ. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to, drain the swamp, as he would say. Meanwhile, he had the swampiest of swamps ever. So Merrick Garland knows that Trump and his allies are out for him. Jim Jordan, in fact, had indicated that they're going to be looking at the DOJ. So this is another way for Merrick Garland to not allow the Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, to delay his investigation by passing it off to special counsel. They can call, Merrick Garland in for any hearings they want. But meanwhile, this guy Jack Smith. Jack Kemp was the former, whatever, Jack something. He can continue to do his job, and like you said, it can't get any worse. So yeah, let's see where it ends.
I love your concept of like, it sounds like a made up name. Like they are all so scared. Like, would you put it past them that they'd be in a room like, how do we get out of this thing? And then they see a mannequin in the corner and they're like, if I put my coat on that thing, we make a fake Wikipedia page. No one can even remember the name. They can't Google it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.